want to talk about pacing and stuff like that. I mean, if people on the internet or wherever think that this was poorly paced, I mean, they can think whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is, people laughed in the theater. People laughed at the jokes. There was tears being shed, and when moments like that came up with Tony and his daughter, or like Scott Lang and his daughter when he sees her for the first time in 5 years as a grown woman, rather than
he sees her for the first time in 5 hours. But
exactly, as a grown woman, 5 years later. I mean, that shit had me tearing up too, because it's just, you know.
That was a great moment. Seeing her and how she reacts to it. I actually had no idea. I was like, who the hell is this? I was like, is this...
And then it's like, who is that? Oh, it's his daughter.
Like, yeah, and it just reminds you of that.
Outstanding performances all the way around, though.
Yeah.
It felt like Paul Rudd, so excellent. I mean, all of them, everybody.
And his daughter, remember?
His daughter was wonderful.
Dad? I mean, because how crazy is that? Seeing your dad, and he hasn't changed.
She was so good at taking me out of the film. I was like, holy cow, she's so good.
Yeah, so do you guys remember the gasp? No, you guys don't? Remember
gasps all around, yeah.
Like, the gasp in...
Which gasp?
5 years.
Later, it's like 5 years.
It's literally, I don't know.
I'm just sitting here, I'm like...
I almost expected
when it said 5, I was like,
know.
okay, it's going to be 5 years later. And then it's like years, and I'm like, why are they dragging this out? And everyone's like gasping every time a word shows up. And I'm like, this is like... knowing the answer to something on Wheel of Fortune, and just being like, listen to the answer! It almost took 5 years for the words to show up.
To the big beheading, and then moving into the slow character. Yeah.
At least they didn't do the cutscenes like they did in Infinity Wars, where each cutscene they put up a title of where they're at. My personal favorite one was it shows like all these stars, and there's like a nebula and a couple of planets, and it just says space. Like we didn't know where they were.
That's pretty.
Yeah, and I actually did love the therapy session with Cap, seeing him there trying to help people. I was like,
didn't you say awesome baby steps? Was it awesome? Taking awesome baby steps or something like that, like.
Super awesome baby steps, pal. Super awesome baby steps.
Sorry.
That's what Captain America's ass will give you.
It's all about baby steps.
America's ass.
Awesome.
We're going to start a website. Actually, we're changing Fanatics of Film to americasass.com. Yeah, and then so right after that, San Francisco, we got Paul Rudd getting thrown out of the van that Michael Douglas built.
Because of a rat.
Because of a rat, yeah.
It was all because of a rat.
Yeah,
Thanos got beat because of a rat.
He wanted to destroy everything. I've learned this much. Take what you can, when you can. Then you've learned nothing.
Yeah,
that stepped on the. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
It's like the Hobbits, man. You can't underestimate the little people.
Mm-hmm. Tell that to Randy Newman. He wrote a song about it.
Could you sing me a couple verses?
What people got no reason to live. That's about hobbits. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Black Widow was a huge standout at this point. I mean, this point right afterwards, we see everyone trying to gather together, trying to regroup, and Black Widow is kind of the central focus. She's kind of conducting it all. Nick the mom Fury. Or whatever. She's the Nick Fury of this.
Fury, yeah.
She says later, like, all that she did in that 5 years was try to arrive at the point that she was at, right? Which was to
do something to get it back.
So,
yeah,
she was very invested in trying to get it right.
Dude, I got more invested in her from this movie, and it's like they've been clamoring. We've all been clamoring for a Black Widow movie. They mentioned it back a while back when Joss Whedon was like, "Yeah, I'm really drunk and high, but I think I'll direct a Batgirl movie, and I got these ideas. Yeah, I'm going to direct a Batgirl movie." So this big thing, right? And Joss Whedon, the guy who did several Avengers movies, and he was one on board to do a Black Widow movie. And I wanted to see that thing, man. Scarlett Johansson, like, she is money. She is huge. She is a huge star.
And how cool is this in the sense of like? And sorry to interrupt that, but
well, she's amazing.
The cool part about this is, as big as this whole Avengers movie is, and the culmination. Like, it's so great that it comes down to a heist movie, the time heist.
Yeah,
that was the Ant-Man feel to it.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to cater to to that for sure.
If you look at a Black Widow movie, I mean, it could be very much that.
Yeah.
You know, in like an espionage type.
Yeah.
Of just real basic in that particular premise, but it could be really cool.
No. Here's how they need to do it. They need to do it where it's like their first mission together. It's Natasha and then Clint. Just they get trapped in the Budapest. Then when they're there, they just like kind of do a Butch and Sundance thing where they're like, I've got 3. How about you?
Yeah, but she's with
and
KGB. He's with CIA.
They end up running out, and it's like the end of the movie. But then, like, instead of doing the dramatic end, they just wake up in a hospital like a week later. Just like this whole dramatic thing that ends up being anticlimactic.
Dude, yeah, no, that would be super sweet.
No, I would actually like to see the whole, basically what happened to Clint after his family vanished, up to the point where they show him in that movie, because like Ronin's one of the best characters. Like, just because I want to know how he went from I miss my family to everybody's going to die.
Yeah, dude,
it's like Marvel's Breaking Bad.
It's like he's like, I want to be an Avenger, but I also want to be the Punisher. Like,
yeah.
Well, he's out of the loop.
He
lost
like, everything.
All right. Yeah, but
even the sides of his hair.
He's so off the grid. He's like, all right, I'm not messing with the freaking. Obviously those guys are in like superpower leagues above what I've got. I got some skills, but I'm gonna raise a family. And then, of course, when he's out of the game, he still loses. And not only does he just lose, he loses everything.
Hard, yeah.
Everything he's got. So yeah, that movie would be freaking great.
See, the reason I knew something was going to happen to his family was because before this movie, I could not tell you how many kids he had.
And that's hard to do in a group superhero movie when the norm is for people to say, "Oh, a 3-hour movie, this sucks." Like it's like what do you do? It's like the reason why Justice League sucked or suffered big time was because the CEO of Warner Brothers said we are going to cap it out at 2 hours, and that was the problem. Is that they had literally an hour more of a movie made, and that's why Justice League suffered. It would have made probably more anyway.
I just felt like it was all just mashed together.
Yeah. Exactly it was. I thought it was actually really funny how the Hulk was in general just kind of this weird entity that became something completely different than we've ever seen, at least on screen. Right. And I am a Hulk freak. I am a Hulk fanatic. He is one of my favorite Marvel characters. And seeing him in this new light, and apparently this was actually, I did a little bit of research on, apparently this version of him is taken from a famous line of comics, and I'm going to put the artist on the screen, but it's a famous line where they just were like, okay, Banner's brilliant, so he was able to crack the code on how to balance those two crazy entities. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde living inside you. I mean, how the hell... I mean, it's just having this completely... And he, like he said, he says, I treated him as a disease, but now I treat him as the cure. So I got the best part, and they made it into this comedic moment, which was actually really even more strange. I could have used a little bit more sincerity in it, but they had the interaction with the kids and everything, so that made it interesting, and funny, and of course that just gets the same exact point across. But anyway,
yeah, and I think you're right in that sense too, Ben, because there probably could have been a little more sincerity with that, because that's got to have been, had to have been a very large struggle that's been on for a little while.
Well, because in the first Hulk movies, that was like it's a serious effing thing.
I think they did that because there is a strange, just visual aspect to it.
Yeah.
Well, if you think using it as a comedic thing is probably a better way to go.
It works. It works.
Like, well, that's the way
it probably should have been a little more serious.
That's the way Bruce Banner's humor always is. He gets really awkward. You could tell he feels really awkward, so he tries to mask it with jokes. Remember when they were all drinking at the Avengers Tower and they're all trying to pick up the hammer and then he goes, "Ah!" and then no one laughs? Right. It's like that.
Well, come to think of it now, actually, they in this whole time they've had Thor as like this undying, raw, I am the greatest man in the world, all the women love me. And Hulk was kind of like, shit, what the fuck, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm crazy. And so they kind of reversed those two in this movie. Yeah. I just realized that. So they're kind of completely switched. And Thor was just like, I have no idea what. Okay, so I get it now. I get that.
That's whenever Bruce Banner came in at that one point, or Hulk, and he said, he was trying to remind Thor of who he was, right? And he said, "You did this for me before." So they really did,
Right.
That I just barely figured that out.
One of the better parts about Ragnarok was that kind of development between the two. Because that thing went off on so many tangents. It was so Willy Wonka.
I love
Well,
it.
and another
Actually,
thing
I
with the
love
Hulk,
it.
Because of
like while we're still on the
crazy.
Hulk,
Well, it's not like I dislike it, but it was just like you go from Thor 1 to the Dark World, with the elves, and then you
mom
just,
dying and shit, and then all
They
of
had
a
to
sudden,
change it up because Thor
Natalie
2
Portman
was
getting that
awful.
weird space.
I love
herpes.
Thor 2. I love that.
It was like critically, it was not any kind of
no,
success.
critically, it was
though,
probably.
right?
A
I enjoyed it, though.
dumpster fire,
I enjoyed it.
but
I thought it was
liked a
good.
lot.
My
So
favorite
they
part of it,
felt like they needed to change things up because it was not successful.
And they did, but they went that
And then
whole
Guardians came
180
out,
kind
was
of
really
thing
good,
before
so-
because of Guardians. But then this man Hemsworth hit the mark.
the best part of
It
it
was such a good switch. That in
is
his
the
role,
cleanup
even though it was a
episode
comedic-
on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After that happens, they're all sitting there cleaning up, it was like London or something like that. And they're just like, why can't there just be an Asgardian that cleans up after himself? Like,
Is there no
but-
Asgardian maintenance people around?
well,
here?
but the Hulk, the last time we see the Hulk, we see Bruce Banner's like, come on, help! And the Hulk's like, no, I don't want him. And they're sitting there bickering. So you expect the splinter to be worse or to be continuing. So to see him like bouncing between the two, it's like, it was kind of a nice swerve in a way. Like, 'cause,
unexpected at least.
Yeah,
like you expect him to be struggling with this and then like, oh, well, he's not going to be able to do this until the end of the movie. No.
No, that was good. I mean, that was good in that sense.
Did we see him really fight? We didn't see.
Did you not see him angrily stomping down New York when he took his shirt off?
you're very right, Alex. We did
we
not
really
even
didn't see him fight.
I mean, well, because at the beginning he's still in the Hulkbuster, and so he's still trying to figure stuff out. And so it's 5 years later he's finally figured that out. So we get all that. But yeah, I think I don't.
because even the final
see
fighting
him-
scene, he's like holding up the tower. He's saving Rocket and
that's
everybody,
it.
and that's it.
He's more the
That
protector
is it.
and the sage.
Dude, he
He is no
he
longer
totally
the Hulk.
disappears after that.
Yeah, he
At the end?
totally
What the
disappears.
hell?
It does not show him thrashing and smashing about.
Dude, he would have.
Yeah, because Paul
Dude.
Rudd, when in his giant.
He's
hand-
giant, and he
Well, he-
punched that giant worm thing. Boom! Punched in
Well,
the face. That
But
was
he,
cool.
but he took the giant man pulls.
You also
and
got to
pulls
think.
the Hulk out of his fist, and he pulls the Hulk out. So you see the Hulk come out there, but I think that's the last time.
Well, you see him like running along the
Okay.
lines. You just don't see
And
like
plus-
Okay.
an action shot with just
What good is
him.
Yeah.
what good is he gonna do? Because he had the gauntlet on and he trashed up his arm.
That's
you are
right. I
right.
forgot about
Yo,
that.
you're totally
Okay,
right.
thank
he
you.
did get messed up.
The
But
voice of
still-
reason.
But
Okay.
still, I think
Yeah,
there's a
he's
very
right.
big point of just the fact that now he's in control of this hulking body that.
That just goes to show, like,
he's
exactly.
not smashing. He's not unbridled
He's
rage.
definitely not going to be as fun as he used to be.
Like, no.
He's like Beast, guys. He's like the
man-
sagely,
Yeah,
like
you're
he's
right.
stepping into that
But you gotta
protector
love-
sage
see,
role.
This is the thing that I
That's
loved
all I'm
about
saying.
Marvel and the way they pulled this off so well is the fact that here he is looking at himself from 2013, smashing everything up, and then
and he's
this
ashamed.
movie-
He's
Yeah.
ashamed.
Yeah,
But how
he actually
hilarious.
covers
the
his
fact
face.
that they
Like,
they played themselves off like that.
It's like when you
They
see
did
your
that
old band from
so
junior
many
high,
times.
like a video of that, and you're just like,
Right.
Well, I mean,
it's a different time.
My wife isn't watching this.
well, they have to have comedy beats in there, and I get we all get that. So
But it isn't just
it's-
comedy beats. It's like actually pointing. There's meaning behind each one of those bits.
Yeah.
And that's the great part about the fact
Yeah.
that this has got such a lineage.
There's a
It's
deeper
like,
meaning than
yeah,
just the.
how cool is that?
It's. I'm glad that you pointed it out because there's a lot of comedy in these movies, but there's deeper meaning behind the comedic moment. So they choose. They're like, okay, we could go this route. We can make it serious or we can make it funny, and we're still delivering the same message, etc. So there's depth to that. So yeah, I'm still one of those guys who is like,
Which
I love the original Hulk movie. And I loved having Edward Norton.
Wait,
and
the one with Eric Bana?
The Incredible
Rick
Hulk.
now?
No,
Yeah,
no,
Eric-
not that one. What, Bill Bixby?
Yeah. No, anyway, I would have loved to have seen like a Hulk trilogy. I'm just a Hulk maniac. That's just
that would have been cool too.
But no, seriously, the Eric Bana one, like you were still down with that movie when he was describing what his heartbeat sounded like. Boom, boom. Like,
I gotta watch
the
that
first
again.
one.
but that's not the Edward Norton one. You're
No,
talking
no.
about
He's
the
talking
Ang
about
Lee. Yes, the Ang Lee one.
No.
That's why I was
Fight
asking
the
about
dog.
Eric Bana.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it actually. I liked that one just because it was the Hulk.
Because
so-
Nick Nolte.
and because
I mean,
I'm
come on.
Nick Nolte was that's right, Nick Nolte. Anyway, yeah, that's true.
Who wouldn't want a Nick Nolte for their dad? I mean, come on.